Tonight on CitrusTV Investigates, President Trump's immigration crackdown continues in central New York. The families of those deported in the Cato ICE raids speak out amidst their ongoing battles in court.
I want everybody's families to be happy again. They don't deserve this.
And hope, how a New York pastor is leading his church with relentless faith, while his congregation prays for their families to be reunited.
Our faith, it keeps us going. And that's, I think that's the source of our strength as a ministry.
Plus, local schools publish protocols for ICE visits, one superintendent's message to fellow educators as he positions himself as the first line of defense for students at risk.
So if ICE showed up at one of our buildings, really the first thing we're doing is making sure I'm involved.
President Donald Trump's campaign to deport immigrants without legal status is resulting in thousands of arrests throughout New York State. Welcome to CitrusTV Investigates. I'm Luke Welch.
And I'm Anjana Desam. President Trump's immigration czar Tom Homan says the administration is expecting to deport over 500,000 immigrants this year alone. According to Pew Research, that is the same number of people illegally crossing into the U.S. annually.
1 month ago, dozens of mass federal ICE agents raided a factory in Cato, New York, detaining nearly 60 nutrition bar confectioners workers. The government has released very little information about those involved, but through internal sources, we've determined that at least one had legal permission to work under a pending immigration case.
Family members tell us workers taken into custody were kept from their lawyers. Now those families live in limbo, waiting for the day their loved ones return home. Our Caitlin Campbell tells us their story.
Just south of Cato in the Finger Lakes region, Paul Reynoso is a pastor who sees his ministry as a sanctuary for the families of at least 8 parishioners taken into custody on September 4th.
While faith leaders like Reynoso offer hope, parents tell us the fear of losing their children never goes away. In January, the Trump administration rescinded a policy that largely prohibited ICE from conducting operations in schools, house of worship, and hospitals. The administration says there is no evidence of ICE arresting students from schools, but families remain on alert. Maura Vaughn sits down with one parent preparing for the unthinkable.
Straight ahead on CitrusTV Investigates, a third-generation dairy farmer desperate for foreign labor, how mass deportations are threatening his livelihood and the agriculture industry at large.
Some of them have been here long enough that there's no longer a home, back home. This is their home.
Welcome back to CitrusTV Investigates. New York State is home to nearly 1.5 million cattle, more than the total population of upstate New York. But no visa is available for year-round workers to support the state's largest agricultural industry, dairy.
Instead, some farmers build their workforces in ways that push the limits of federal law. The Trump administration says it's delivering relief by slashing regulations, ending unfair trade practices, and lowering energy prices. But our Jackson Breslin reports on why those measures may not be enough to keep the industry afloat. Over the past 10 years, the Office of Homeland Security reports the U.S. taking in nearly 500,000 refugees. That's roughly equal to the population of Onondaga County. In 2024, nearly 8,000 refugees and special immigrant visa holders resettled here in upstate New York. The county accounts for 30%, leading the state in arrivals. On Syracuse's north side, one store owner fled violence in the Democratic Republic of Congo. With his village destroyed and community torn apart, 20 years later, he's still navigating a foreign country. Sigourney Bell takes us inside his shop, a symbol of perseverance in a time of uncertainty.
Coming up on CitrusTV Investigates, a Syracuse University international student breaking her silence and the plea she's making to campus administration.
At the end, we're just people, and we come here for a dream. We come here to get an education, to get a better future.
From January to April, the U.S. State Department revoked more than 6,000 student visas. The Trump administration says between 200 and 300 were pulled under the Immigration and Nationality Act for support of terrorism from foreign-born individuals. Last April, 3 Syracuse University students had their visas revoked, 2 had them restored, but none were given an explanation. This year, a third of the staff at the university's Center for International Services did not return for the fall semester. International students make up around 20% of the student body. Our Lauren Holdmeyer sits down with one student, breaking her silence.
Welcome back to CitrusTV Investigates. Since 2020, ICE is now nearing $5 billion spent on immigration and border surveillance technology. Though it's a small percent of the federal budget over the past 5 years, it's the equivalent of sending every New Yorker a $250 check. As other cities rethink contracts with surveillance technology manufacturer Flock Safety, privacy and civil rights experts are calling on the Syracuse Police Department to terminate its partnership. In September, Syracuse University began installing a total of 8 cameras here on campus. Our Olivia Rodriguez spoke with Flock, learning how the data is used and who could be at risk.
Syracuse serves as what many call a sanctuary city. While the term is broadly scrutinized, the work continues from organizations like Catholic Charities, Interfaith Works, Northside Learning Center, and RISE. Last year, Onondaga County announced a grant investing in 5 of those organizations who work closely with youth in the refugee community. Still, homelessness and housing shortages climb nationally, especially impacting immigrants here in central New York. The market can't keep up. Lucy Schaefer joins us to break down the data and the solutions. 2 employees of SUNY Upstate Medical Center were taken into custody by ICE officers before entering the courtroom to finalize their legal status in late October. The largest higher education union in the United States, United University Professions, says both men fled Cuba seeking asylum in the U.S. They're being held at the Buffalo Federal Detention Facility in Batavia, awaiting their hearings. I sat down with UUP President Mindy Heath to discuss how the union is responding and what comes next.
March Madness is underway, and so is market shares as the buzzer sounds on another hectic week on Wall Street.
What can people expect if the government does shut down after this deadline?
Well, look, I mean, the government shutdown is something that happens, it feels like every 6 to 8 months these days. And I think that's a reason why you have markets that are kind of numb to the whole headline. Markets have been crushing all-time highs seemingly on a repeatedly basis.
In today's business climate, it feels like every company is thinking one quarter at a time. Our guest, Rashad Tabakawala, is always thinking 10 years ahead of time.
With over 2,000 Syracuse students studying abroad this year, many have had some weekend travel plans thrown into disarray after Britain's largest airport shut down this morning.
Right now we're sitting down with Samantha Fernandez, the CEO of Syracuse iGEM, a biotechnology club providing students with startup experience. Samantha, welcome in. Thanks for joining us.
Really big market growth potential for a company like Eli Lilly.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get to our next market mover, United Healthcare Group. We touched on it a little bit in the beginning of our market update because it is down big. You can see the huge tick towards Sean on the right side of your screen.
Electric vehicles are expected to make up 10% of all vehicle sales this year, and with that comes a growing need for EV infrastructure. Roman Verna is live from Adams Street in Syracuse, where new chargers are being built to meet that demand. Roman, what can you tell us?
For the first time in a while, SU students like myself may find a fully stocked Marshall Street Chipotle bowl. Chipotle's 7-year hunt for avocados produced outside of Mexico has finally come to an end.
And while food prices continue to rise at the JMA Dome, game day over at Coastal Carolina University just got a whole lot less expensive.
To make up for lost revenue, the chain is investing $1.3 billion in Bitcoin, shifting away from retail and towards cryptocurrency.
Yeah, share prices initially rose about 12%, but then slid over 8% in after-hours trading on Wednesday. The company posted almost $1.5 billion in net sales for the most recent quarter, marking an almost 30% decline.
Alexa is becoming Alexa Plus with new artificial intelligence features rolling out this week. You activated it right there. The company considers its smart speakers to be a loss leader. They have never been profitable, but they are popular.
Last night, a video was posted to X showing graphic content involving fraternity members throwing up on other students, then panning to reveal another student tied to a pole with their mouth taped. According to the university, those involved in the video are allegedly a part of Syracuse's Phi Kappa Psi fraternity. Chancellor Ken Syverud sent an email to students this afternoon. Syverud says, "I am disgusted by the actions that appear in these videos and condemn this conduct." Earlier today, the university issued an immediate interim suspension which halts all Phi Kappa Psi activities. The video already has over 100,000 views, claimed to be from a fraternity at the University of Mississippi, later confirmed by SU to be here on campus. Neither the Interfraternity Council nor the Phi Kappa Psi responded to CitrusTV's request for comment. According to officials in Lebanon, at least 9 people were killed and more than 300 injured after walkie-talkies exploded just hours ago. This is just one day after pager blasts across Lebanon killed at least 12 people. Yesterday's attack targeted the militant organization Hezbollah in an Israeli government operation. Hezbollah pledged retaliation against Israel, with the Lebanese government condemning the attack as, quote, criminal Israeli aggression, end quote. And United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson was shot and killed in Midtown Manhattan this morning as he walked to the company's annual investor conference. NYPD says the death of Thompson is a result of a, quote, brazen targeted attack, end quote. The gunman remains on the loose after fleeing on foot from the scene, then escaping on an e-bike. The motive remains unclear, but Thompson's wife, Paulette, says, quote, there have been some threats against them both. NYPD Crime Stoppers has announced a reward of up to $10,000.
Last night, all major networks announced Donald Trump will be the next president of the United States. In a remarkable political comeback, the former president flipped the blue wall and its 44 electoral votes, turning southern battleground states red. The 45th president will now become the 47th, becoming only the second president to serve 2 non-consecutive terms.
We open tonight with some breaking news. Just minutes ago, President Trump paused all aid to Ukraine, including weapons in transit or in Poland.
Democratic State Senator John Mannion won the 22nd congressional district seat last night, defeating Republican incumbent Congressman Brandon Williams. Mannion will be the first Democrat to represent the Syracuse area since Congressman Dan Maffei lost and left office in 2015.